Just as a disclaimer before this video starts, you might want to check my original video. I'll put it right about here, probably. Click that. It's going to be up for a few more seconds. It'll take you through a lot of the beginning stuff that I kind of just gloss over in this video. So today we're going to go over adding a HUD to the character and being able to move the objects that are floating around as you want. So we're going to start from a blank project again because I'm a project whore, all those projects. So what we're going to do is we're going to go blank project, no starter content, and we're going to just call this HUD tutorial. Okay. And so before we start, you're going to need a couple of things. It'll help you follow along. So if you go to my website, ostar.com/youtube/interaction.zip, I'll put a link down in the description below. You can download the zip file here. I'm just going to show you that there's nothing evil in this file. Yeah, so you'll have some content here. You're going to need to put this in your content folder of the project you just created. And then in content here, you actually have just a bunch of PNGs. These are actually screen caps, screenshots of the blueprints I'm going to be implementing into. I was going to use those images in here as reference, but I deleted them because I'm a dum-dum. First, actually, a little bit of setting up. First, you've got content here. Remember, view options, show plugin content. You get your, also edit plugins, input, LeapMotion, restart now. We're going to make sure to do everything from scratch. I'm going to gloss over the things that I covered in my previous video, and I'll just go into more detail for the other things. So we'll take first we're going to create a couple new folders. You saw them in the pictures. We got HUD and we got HUD character. So inside our LeapMotion content, our character and blueprints, rigging, and then Leap rig character is what we're going to use this time. So you're just going to want to copy that here. Sorry for the noise. Vietnam can be noisy. So we got our thing here. We're going to actually just call this HUD character. And just like last time in our content folder, we're going to create a new game mode. We're going to call it HUD game mode. We're going to save everything. Hit edit, project settings, maps and modes, HUD game mode. And then our default pawn is going to be HUD character. Oh, I misspelled that, but you get the gist. Alright, so we'll save all that, and now we should, in theory, be rigged up. Oh, that's not VR. In theory? Yeah, I see, and we're officially rigged up. Alright. So now that we've got LeapMotion set up, we're going to start by creating the actual HUD, because that's the new content. Actually, no, you know what? We're going to just set up all of the basics. You got HUD character, so we're going to want to set up our Leap controller here, and then remember, I always make it a point to double check our Leap connector to make sure that for some reason it didn't get reset. Where's my construction script? And enable image support still there, so we can keep on going. So back to HUD character. So we got our Leap controller on begin play. We're just going to do this one more time. Enable image support. Compile. And we're also going to, in class settings, add a Leap event interface. and I was informed, and I had found out that we don't need the image link interface that I added last time. You don't need that crap. So you can compile that and save. That's all we're going to do in there for now. So what we're going to be adding to the character, this is what we had last tutorial. What we're going to be adding to this is actually a HUD. I'm calling it a HUD for lack of a better term. It's more like a 3D. It's kind of like your world that you can manipulate. So like you can make things spawn. We're going to spawn a bunch of pass-through objects today. So what we're going to do first is we're going to be creating a blueprint in our HUD folder. We're going to create a new blueprint actor, and we're going to call this HUD volume. Okay, so inside we also want to create enumeration. Yeah, I don't know why I can find it. Anyways, so we got enum, and we're going to call this HUD object type. And inside here, we're going to create 3 new values. One's going to be pass-through, one's going to be video, and one's going to be window. And this is just for enabling future content, really. So we got HUD object type, HUD volume, and then we're going to also need to create one new blueprint, and this is going to act as a parent class to all the objects we spawn. So we're going to call this one HUD object. So we haven't done anything with these yet. I should create a level, because we're going to need a saved level, and make sure that whenever you save your level that you create it as the entry level, so it doesn't bother you in the future when you're trying to do stuff. Alright, so we've got our base set up, so now we'll start doing some cool things. So we've got our HUD object here. So inside our HUD object here, we're actually going to have to add a public variable to it. You make it public by clicking the little I here. When it's green, it's public. And we're just going to call this type. And this is going to be of type HUD object type. Bam. There we go. And that's all we're going to need for now. Now we can close that. And what we're going to be spawning is actually pass-through windows. So we're going to actually create a new folder here. We're going to call this pass-through. And then inside pass-through, we're going to create a blueprint. And this is also going to be an actually, we're just going to look for HUD object here. It's going to be a HUD object, and we're going to call this pass-through. Okay, now our character, after we spawn them, its HUD will need to have a copy of all of those windows in memory. So we're going to go into our HUD volume now and start implementing some things. Make sure to open the full blueprint editor. I've got everything set up. So you're going to want to add a HUD. No, we're going to call this. We're going to call this spawned HUD objects. And then here, these are going to be HUD objects reference, and you click this little square here, and that will make it a array. So that's going to be an array of HUD objects. Just save and compile that to make sure that works. We're going to finish making the pass-through object now. So the pass-through itself, actually I'll go into more detail on this HUD object. You'll notice that it's just a scene root. I'm only using this so that anything derived off of this could be passed around together, so you can reference them all together as one thing. Inheritance is a cool thing that works in Blueprint, which is kind of cool. Anyways, so back into our pass-through, what we're actually going to do here is we're going to have a cube mesh. Oh yeah, that looks like a decent cube, and we're actually just going to, oh yeah, we can't re-inherit that. So we're going to make this, and we're just going to say window. didn't put an S on that. Alright. There's our cube. We're going to want to change a few things on it. First, we're going to just make this 0.1. And did that work at all? And yeah, my thing's frozen, so just give it a second here. There we go. Oh, that was the wrong direction. Looks like, yeah. So we're going to put this back at 1. And we actually want to go Y. This is going to be 0.1. We're just going to do it like this. And we're going to hope for the best. And we're going to call this one 0.7. No, 0.6 is probably better. Cool. Alright, so yeah. Oh yeah, what is it, 6 by 9? We'll just do that. That looks, oh shit, where'd it go? Let's, really? There you are, okay. Back to the board. Alright, so we've got now a mesh, and what we're going to do with this one here is we're actually going to create a dynamic material here. To make it so we can update the material on the actual cube. So what we're going to have to first do is actually inside our path through here, we're going to create a new folder called materials, and we're just going to create a new material called passthrough material, and we can go inside there and we can just texture sample parameter 2D, and then we're just going to rename that texture, and we're going to just wire that up to base color. And what we're actually going to do to make it so we don't need to light these things separately is we're going to multiply, and then we're just going to go to emissive custom color, and we're going to go in here and go constant. We're just going to multiply everything by 15. And that's just going to make it shine without needing a light shining on it. See? Glows. Isn't that beautiful? Anyway, so back to the passthrough. So on begin play, what you're going to want to do is create dynamic material instance. And yeah, you're gonna want to give that. What I'm just gonna do is create dynamic, and make sure to get the window parentheses, and then it just pulls it in for you. Isn't that awesome? So we'll get that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable, and we're going to actually call this passthrough. And we're going to make this a texture 2D. There we go. So when we use set sprite on the billboard in the last tutorial, that's when this is basically what it was doing. It was applying a new sprite to a dynamic material, basically. And our source material here, we're just going to call it pass-through material. Okay, right there, bam. And then in here, you're just going to want to take this, set this here. Oh, oops, no. This is going to be a material? Yeah, I guess it's a material. I screwed up. It's a material. Material. Reference. Oh, again, maybe not an array. Material instance dynamic. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's the circle. That's what I was looking for. Anyways, so again, bring in the circle. Pass through. There you go. Set that, and then all you need to do is compile and save that, and we got the beginnings of that. Alright, and there's going to be, we're just going to delete these grayed out ones because screw that. We're going to create a custom event, and we're going to call this update passthrough. And we're going to take this path-through material and we're going to set texture parameter value here. And remember, we called it texture, so we're going to just texture, and in our update path-through, we're going to give it a text. This is where the texture 2D comes in. 2D, take a reference of that, pt text, and that goes in here. So there we go, we're done that part. Now that this particular cube is made, we can close that out. We can close HUD object, and and we'll close this, and then we'll figure out where we're going from there. So we're going to do this in an order that's going to show you results. So on our HUD character here, we're actually going to add a new component up in the top left corner called child actor here, and you can just call this HUD. Now you're going in your HUD, what you're going to do is go over to your right side of your screen in your details panel, and you're going to want child actor class and make that HUD volume and compile that. And there we go. Now now we've attached our HUD to our character. So now one thing we're going to need to do in here, just like last video, event raw image received here. And then this is going to, we're actually going to have to wait for this for just a second. Because what we need to do is, now that we've got this ready to go to thing, we'll go back to our HUD volume and we'll start adding some functionality in here. We're going to start with being able to spawn objects. That's a logical place to start. We've got our object created. Now it's time to just spawn it, right? So we're going to create a new event, new custom event in our HUD volume. So we're just going to delete all that for now. We might bring one back. So we're going to add a custom event, and we're going to call this new HUD object. Now this is a fairly long function, so bear with me here. So new HUD object is going to take a couple of inputs. It's going to take a HUD object type like that, and then we're going to call this type. And then it's also going to take a box location, as in the location of the HUD box location. There you go. So from here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to switch on this, and we're only going to be implementing the top wire at this point. So what we're going to want to do is from here is once we've determined it's a path-through object, we're going to want to spawn actor from class, and then the class itself, you want to make it pass through the object we just created. Our spawn transform, where we're going to spawn it, we'll deal with that in a second, and that's all we need to do there, so we might as well do the transform. So what we're going to do is we're going to spawn the windows basically randomly within a box of a certain dimension. So what we're going to want to do is, that's why we got box location, is so we can spawn it around any point we want. We're going to take the box location, and we're going to add we're going to add a new vector. So we're going to want to make vector, and it's going to be random spawning, so each one will be connected to a random float in range, and make this lens 500, 500, So this is going to give you a wide variety of places for things to spawn, and it actually works really well. And for Z, we're actually going to go 0 to 500 so that it doesn't spawn underneath us or underneath the ground. So there we go. So we've got that random, and it adds it to the location of the box. And then from here, what we're going to want to do is it needs to transform in here. So we're going to want to make transform. And the rotation here, we're going to make rotator, and we're just going to keep it all at 0. And the scale is going to be 1, and then we have, this is our spawning. So that's going to spawn a box. I'm just going to move these over to make it look a little cleaner. There we go. So what this is doing is, once this event is called, it's going to get the location of the box and spawn an object of the type that you specify to that location. And that's what that section does. So after we have that created, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add that as a reference to all our spawned objects. Oh, no. From here you want to add, and we'll go like that. There we go. Add that to there. And now that it's spawned, actually, we're going to want to make a change to pass-through. I'm making a change to this right now. You're going to see it different in the blueprints. In the blueprints that I have in the images that I've connected to here, you're going to see me, I set it as pass-through here. I'm actually going to make that part of the constructor, so there's no chance of people forgetting it in the future if you ever do this again. So on construction, we're going to take a set type, and we're going to just make it path through, and that makes it easy for us. There we go. So back to our HUD volume in here. So instead of setting it, what we're going to do is now we're going to take the object that we have and attach to, and then we're going to attach it to default scene root, and then we're going to do that, and there we go. So that's going to be our new HUD object. Now we can basically test that now. So what we're going to do first is in our edit, we're going to go into project settings, and then we're going to go into input and action mapping. So we're just going to add one real quick. We're going to call this spawn, and we're going to assign that to the E key. And since I like to use my controller sometimes, gamepad face top. There we go. There we go. So now we got a spawn action command. So now we'll go back to our character and we'll handle that spawn. And I need to implement this function too, so before we can actually do much. But we should be able to spawn cubes now. So we're just going to do that to show you that things are actually happening. So we're going to call this input action input event. I'm just gonna, what am I doing? Spawn. There we go. Wasn't that easy? So once spawn is pressed, what we're going to do is we're going to take our HUD and we're going to get child actor, and we know it's a HUD volume, so we're going to cast as HUD volume. There we go. And then as HUD volume, we're going to call a new HUD object. And there we go. And we're going to new pass through. And I am missing one key. thing that I need to add to our character here, and I'm just going to go look for it. HUD character. Doing a lot of this. So I'm doing input action spawn. There we go. That. Cast HUD volume, and then here get actor location. And since the box is just exactly in the middle of myself, we can just do that, and there we go. We've wired up our spawn function. Now in theory we should be able to play. I'm not going to do this in VR right now because there's no point. It should just spawn a bunch of things if I went to the right window. And there we go, we've got it spawning. Now it's not showing you our leap pass-through because we haven't wired that up, but we're now spawning HUD objects, and if we go into our thing here, you see here, pass-through, and they're all children. Oh, they're not children. They need to be attached to here, HUD volume. I'm going to fix that eventually. But basically, you're going to want to attach it to your HUD volume and not to the scene like it seems to be doing. But you can get it done fairly easily. I have faith in you. Anyways, so now that we're spawning pass-throughs, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add a where are we? So it's spawning. We're going to actually want to wire up the pass-through. So we'll go back into our HUD character here, and you see our event raw image received. We're going to want to update pass-through here. So we're just going to create an update custom event. Sorry, add custom event, and then we're going to call this update pass-through. Now you're going to see me reuse event names because I'm just passing them layers down. There's probably better ways to do it, but gets the job done, so who cares? So in our update pass-through, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get two things. Not just one thing. I lied. We're just going to want the pass-through texture. There we go. And then we're going to just look for texture 2D. Bam, reference. There we go. Now we've got our update pass-through event, and what this is going to do is, let me just take a look. We're in HUD volume. Let's look at my pictures here and make sure I don't want to make too many mistakes here. Update pass-through. Right. So you're right. You're going to want to create a variable here, and you're going to call this. You can just call this pass-through. Yeah, pass-through text. And again, this is going to be a texture 2D. There we go. And then you're going to want to set this, and that's all this is going to do. Now you're going to want to pass all of these. You're going to want to pass this texture to all of its children. So to do that, what we're going to want to do is look for there it is. Okay. So now we're going to do something on a tick function. You want to avoid the tick function as much as possible, but it's basically embeds itself in the game loop. So when you have to do something every frame, do it every frame to make sure. So from event tick, what we're going to do is we're going to do a for each loop, and the array is going to be our spawned HUD objects. Now we're going to loop body, and we're going to switch on HUD object type, and then from the array element we're going to get the type, get type. There we go. So every frame, that we're going to look through every one of these things, and for every object type that we find that is path through. So you're going to do this, and you're going to want cast path through, and object. Again, you're going to just want to take this, drag it out to your object. We know it's a path through object now. And on true cast, we're going to want to did I put that function in there? Yeah, I did. And then update path through on here. Our texture being our path through text here. Oops. I'm so dumb sometimes. And bring it over, connect it up. There we go. All right. Now, if all went well, which I believe it should be, we should now be able to see our LeapMotion camera once I'm in the right window again. So we'll create a bunch of these. No, we can't see them. That's not good. What has I done wrong? Did I forget to finish wiring it up to the character? Yes, I did. So inside event draw image receive, what you're going to want to do is we're going to make this real simple. Take, we're actually going to just drag this down, bring it here so we can, and we'll cast to HUD volume here. So just make it a little bit cleaner, and we're going to update path through with our texture. We're not even going to look for hands and stuff right now. And compile. So now we should be seeing that. So spawn a bunch of windows, and there we go. We have our path through. There you go. You can see it working over there, and that's all good and dandy. So now we have HUD completely created. Yeah. That's like kind of really cool. Can't see it, but I'll figure out what it is. That's better. Yeah. So make sure you reset your world position. When you don't, you don't get proper tracking at all. Even though right now it's not really proper tracking either. See, I need to. Yeah. See. Yeah. It's